Hi, I'm Euan from the Baby Seal Club, and what I'm going to try and do just now is just talk you through some of the wonderful new devices that we're going to start using in our band to make your dancing and listening pleasure all the more fuller in coming weeks. We're going to start off with this here, the Yamaha DD6 drum machine. As you can see, it's a quintessentially 1980s piece of equipment, and it's playing a very 1980s drum beat right now, and its speciality is 1980s drum beats. In addition to that, it has no less than 4 customizable pads which you can use like that. As you can see, drumming is not my core skill, but you do get the idea. Now, the interesting thing about this one is that it has been what is called circuit bent. Now, if you're not familiar with the term, and I do apologise if you are, what happens is people with an awful lot more electronic expertise than me will open something like this up and just monkey around with the circuits inside, bend them in other words, adding switches, dials, distortion, pitch bending and so on, all kinds of freaky effects that take something like this, which is very 1980s, and just drag it up into the 21st century. Now, to be clear, we're not doing anything new here. This is something that people have been doing for a very long time. People involved in electro music or industrial techno. This is their bread and butter, this kind of thing. But I think it's going to be interesting for us to see how it sounds when we try and use this kind of technology in our very kind of psychedelic poppy sound. It should be an interesting blend. Okay, I'm just going to play around for a while and show you some of the things that it can do. Now, there's a few fairly straightforward controls. Bring the volume up a little bit. Things like distortion sounds that will just mess the sound up a little bit. Things which will add distortion with a little bit of a note in there, so you get a bit of pitch to play with. Through to things which to me make almost no sense at all. I find with this it's very much a matter of playing around until you get something that suits the noise you're looking for, and it's been a fantastic way to get inspiration for writing songs. Now, if I, for example, now, what we've got just now is the machine just playing one of its kind of factory preset beats with none of the circuit bending technology added on. I've slowed the tempo down quite a lot, probably a bit quieter than it's meant to be played that beat. And I'm now going to add in some of the drone notes that it has. Now, first of all, this one here. There's a lovely couple of notes happening there at once, okay, so you can hear it's kind of in the time of the beat. And you have a kind of mid-range note. It's actually an F sharp it's playing, and it's also got a very high-pitched kind of bleepy sound happening over the same time, so there's instantly quite a lot of musical depth and resonance there. This guy here is bringing in the same note but a very, very, very low octave, almost right at the border of what the human ear can actually pick up. So it's adding a huge kind of thickness to the sound. So I'm going to bring that back a little bit. Now what I found is that with this drone note, in the same way that a sitar works, you take that very steady, simple note which is just there in the background, and you can play all kinds of things over the top of it, which would normally just be straightforward chords and notes, but now they have this texture because of this drone in the background. My favourite feature of this, and the thing which I'm finding most useful for the Baby Seal Club, is this switch here. Now what that one does is, instead of adding distortion effects and modulation and so on, it's actually, the person that designed this has used this switch to take out some of the original drum beat. So what would normally be an over full 90s beat has now got all this nice breathing space in it. Okay, and that for us makes it possible to create all kinds of nice poppy sounds. just getting ready to dive in, so Andy come in with a massive drum beat, Nick with a big pounding bass line, and Dim with some freaky synth part, okay? And then at which point, when we were all ready, we'd say something like 1, 2, 3, 4. Dim be back in. Since it's designed for industrial techno, it can do some fairly ridiculous things as well. And that brings us safely back to 1984. Thanks for listening.